Hello and welcome to Virtual Investor Conferences. On behalf of OTC Markets, we're very pleased you joined us for our three-day Metals and Mining Conference. Our next live presentation is from Dolly, Varden Silver. Please note you may submit questions for the presenter in the box to the left of the slides, and you can view a company's availability for one-on-one meetings by clicking Book a Meeting in the top toolbar. At this point, I'm very pleased to welcome Sean Kunkun. He's the president, CEO and director of Dolly, Varden Silver, which trades on the NYSE under the symbol DVS and on the TSXV under the symbol DV. Welcome back, Sean.
Thanks for having me, John. Nice to see you again. Okay, thanks everyone for joining. I'm excited to share the value proposition, which is Dolly, Varden Silver Corporation. As we see here on our title slide, pure silver in a safe jurisdiction. I will be making some forward-looking statements throughout my presentation. So I'm going to start with where we are. And I think the biggest differentiator between Dolly and its peers, and there's just a handful of peers, but the biggest differentiator is the where. Most silver is found in places like Mexico, Peru, China. However, we've got a very, very unique project. We've got primary silver mines in a safe jurisdiction. So the Golden Triangle, which has been known about from a mining standpoint for over 100 years, is home to about 1.2 billion ounces of silver discoveries just in the last 3 decades. In addition to the plus billion ounces of silver, there's been 150 million ounces of gold discovered just in the last 3 decades. And so what Dolly Varden's leveraging is the opportunity, which is a highly prolific, high-grade mining camp that's in a safe jurisdiction. So we've got support, local support from communities, from Terrace to Stewart, to local indigenous communities like the Nisga'a and the Nass Valley. We've got established infrastructure. We've got a supportive government. And what that's all led to is it's led to about $5 billion of M&A transactions for small junior companies. So there are 2 operating mines in the area, both operated by one of the world's largest gold producers, Newmont. There's the Brucejack mine and the Red Chris mine. And in addition to the operating mines, there are some very significant notable discoveries that are adjacent to our land holdings. So what we're focused on is an area of the Golden Triangle. We're at the southern end of the Golden Triangle here, identified in blue, an area that's got great infrastructure, an area that is got less harsh weather, and it's an area that's underexplored. So we've talked about where we are, and we've talked about the prolific setting geologically, but I want to discuss our place in the market. And this is a investment opportunity. And the opportunity here is that if there's one word I want you to take away from this presentation, it's scarcity. There are only 10 primary silver producers. A year ago, there was 13. But there's been some M&A in the space. Silvercrest, MAG, and Gatos have all been acquired. So we've gone as an industry from only 13 primary silver producers to 10. Where Dolly Varden is positioned in that market is there are less than 5 companies that have large, either past producing or economic projects that are the next in line to who are the takeover candidates or who are the next in line to get into that primary silver producing category. So we see this as a tremendous opportunity. We've got a district scale land position. We've had high grade results, and we are in a safe jurisdiction. So what we have here is we've been on a M&A spree in terms of acquiring past producing projects and significantly increasing our land package from 15,000 hectares to 100,000 hectares. And some of the significant highlights here, in addition to being all share transactions, we've picked up 3 past producing mines. So this has been very significant growth, and it's something that was all accomplished in the month of May. So I mentioned we've got the very, very historic mines, the Dolly Varden Silver Mine, the Torbrit Mine. We've picked up Porter, Idaho, Mountain Boy, and Esperanza. So on May 15th, we launched into a very aggressive drill program, a 55,000 meter drill program, the largest drill program the project's ever seen. And the focus of that drill program was on this 15-kilometer trend. So we focused on Homestake, we focused on Wolf, and then we did some regional exploration. We've had some results come out from this drill program, which I'll highlight, but the key here is we have over 80 drill holes still to come. This is what makes Dolly Varden so unique. This is a primary silver mine. So if we look at where silver comes from, 3 out of 4 silver ounces comes from a polymetallic project. What makes this project so special is it is that 1 in 4. It is a primary silver mine. And what you'll see here as these grades demonstrate is we're hitting thickness, but we're also hitting exceptional high grades. And so on September 2nd, the best drill hole that the project's ever seen came out, 21 meters of 1,400 grams of silver. Very significant result. If we were to take away the 10,000 grams of silver over a meter, we would still have 973 grams over 21 meters. Now moving over to the Homestake deposit, we just put out a result from the Homestake where we hit on a 45-meter step out, we hit over 3 grams of gold over 120 meters. So our primary silver mines, as we go north in the land package, move to silver gold dominant and then go to completely gold dominant, as highlighted in the Homestake main deposit, 25 meters of 46 grams of silver. So again, some of the best drill results in one of the most prolific camps in the world are coming from Dolly Varden. So Dolly Varden has demonstrated incredible growth by both discoveries and M&A transactions. We have a lot of results pending. We have a foundational compliant mineral resource estimate where we have a total in both categories of over 64 million ounces of silver. In addition to the silver, we're complemented with 1 million ounces of gold. If we were to express this as a silver equivalent, we've got over 150 million ounces of high-grade silver and gold, not factoring in any of the base metals, none of the lead, none of the zinc, none of the copper. Now, one of the exciting catalysts that's to come is we've done a lot of drilling over the last few years. We're looking to update with a new mineral resource estimate after we receive the results from the drill programs. Now, just looking at the company and the growth trajectory, I came in as the CEO in February of 2020. The company had a $20 million valuation. What we've done here is we've brought about $185 million of capital. We've made 5 accretive acquisitions, and we've drilled about 196,000 meters. So again, there's been 2 main pillars of growth. It's been making acquisitions. It's been drilling, which has led to expansion, extension, discovery, de-risking. And what we've managed to do here is grow a company from 20 million to over a $600 million market cap. What we've also managed is to sustain about 700% appreciation in our share price. And we've managed to do this at a time where silver prices were depressed. You know, we've had silver prices range from as low as $12 an ounce, and it's only been as recently as March that they've gone through $25, and we've got the $48, $49 price that we're seeing today. The foundation of the company is the shareholders. We've got heavy concentration with institutional shareholders. We've got two corporate shareholders that own about 26% of the company. Eric Sprott is a 10% shareholder. The company has roughly $30 million in the treasury today. We have announced a bought deal financing of $30 million. We anticipate closing that financing on October 23rd, filling the shoe, which would leave us with about $34 million in addition to the $30 million plus dollars we have in the treasury. So we are in a strong financial position. After the financing, we'll only have 91 million shares issued and outstanding. And we've got research coverage from Research Capital, Haywood, and Raymond James. But again, I think one of the key attributes here is the concentration of large ownership with aligned, astute precious metals investors. We made a decision back in April to uplist the company's shares on the New York Stock Exchange. We were trading at $3.75 a share when we made that decision. What we've seen is significant increase in liquidity. We've leveraged that into significantly expanding the land position, raising capital, and launching into a very aggressive drill program. What I'm trying to demonstrate here is over the last 5 years, we've had a vision, a plan to be the lead consolidator in the Golden Triangle. And what we've done is we've methodically waited. We've waited for moments where the market was pulling back. And when the market pulled back, we went out and acquired. When the market was robust, we filled the treasury. It's been a very systematic building of this company. And now we're at a place where we've launched from a $20 million valuation to a 600, and we've got the currency, we've got the treasury, we've got a tremendous amount of catalysts coming. And we've demonstrated in the past that it's not only by the drill bit, but it's also through making these accretive acquisitions that we've significantly grown the business. I think it's very important when you have a junior company to understand who the people are, their track record, their philosophy. And our philosophy is the shareholders are on the top. The board is responsible to those shareholders, and our management team has been hired by the board. And so if we look at the board of directors, it's a mix of mining engineers, geologists, capital markets professionals, a diverse group of people that are industry leaders that have had successful business launches in terms of building junior companies and transacting. Mr. Sabala was the 5th employee at Coeur d'Alene, which is one of the leading precious metals companies, one of the leading silver companies in the space. He was also the former CFO of Hecla Mining. Rob McLeod, who's a talented geologist who's from third-generation miner from the area, has deep ties within the community, including the Nisga'a, the indigenous community, where our property is on the traditional territories. Rob's also had several sales, including sales to companies like Kinross. So we've got a diverse group of people who are aligned with our shareholders that have a track record of driving good value to the shareholders. So look, in summary, what Dolly Varden represents today is the future of silver in Canada. You've got a strong treasury, you've got great shareholders, you've got an experienced management team that's had a track record of delivering success to its shareholders. In terms of catalysts, the company has got a tremendous amount of drill results pending. And the one thing I would look at is if you go back on a 5-year chart and you put up Dolly Varden and you put up the junior silver mining ETF, what you'll see there is Dolly Varden shares are up about 116% over the last 5 years, whereas the index is up about 86%. So we are outperforming our peers. We are maintaining that value, sustaining that value, and leveraging it into a large company here with aspirations of becoming one of those primary silver producers. And with that, I'll just turn it over to some questions. And the first question is regarding how our recent acquisitions are being integrated and what the exploration strategy is for these assets. It's a great question. So I'm just going to reference a slide here that looks at the land position. So again, looking at the expanded land position now, and again, this was a deliberate. These acquisitions, the first one came and was announced in December of 2021, which is where we acquired Homestake, where we went from 7,000 hectares to 15,000 hectares. We went from 44 million ounces of silver, and we added 20 million ounces of silver and 1 million ounces of gold. So, our mineral inventory tripled, our land package doubled, and most importantly, we picked up a 5-kilometer exploration corridor that has been untested, and there's a lot of periodicity in the area. So this is our focus. So despite picking up the big bulk in December of 2023, and despite in the 10-day period in May where we bought Kinskutch, Porter, Idaho, and the MTB portfolio of properties. So we went from 15,000 hectares to 100. All of our exploration expenditures were on existing core assets. So approximately 81 drill holes of the 83 were drilled in this 15-kilometer trend. We did do 2 test holes into the big bulk. Assays are pending. My point here is we're focused. And so, the way it works in terms of assessment credits and keeping properties in good standing, we could use the plus $100 million of expenditures that we've incurred in the last 5 years to keeping our portfolio in good standing. I should highlight while we're on the slide that the Porter, Idaho was a past producing high-grade deposit. The very, very famous Porter mine and Silverado, they overlook the town of Stewart. There's a tremendous exploration corridor that's open. The grades that were produced were over 2,000 grams per ton. The grades that are in inventory today are north of 860 grams per ton. It was such an accretive deal that when we were trading at about $2 an ounce in the ground, we acquired these ounces for 8.5 cents. So it was a wildly accretive deal. But again, going back to the question, the focus here is going to be on our core holdings around the resources. And the next question is asking about First Nations and local communities and support in the Golden Triangle. And I think, when one of the key attributes in the district is there are 2 main groups in the region, the Tahltan and the Nisga'a, and there's the Gitanyao, and there's some other whelps that are in the area and other nations. But the main 2 groups that have got the established treaties are the Tahltan, and the Tahltan are sort of in the north here, with the Nisga'a being in the south. And in BC, we established the BC Regional Mining Alliance, which is a partnership between the First Nations with government and industry. And Dolly Varden was one of the founding members of the BC Regional Mining Alliance. And I actually am the only industry participant that is on the board of the BC RMA. So we've got an established framework. Simply put, if there was one word to summarize the relationship, the one word is certainty. That's what our First Nations partners bring to the area. The last time I was at an OTC event, it was in person in New York. My Nisga'a partners, Andrew and Charles, so the CEO and the Secretary Treasury, accompanied me to New York to attend a conference where we talked about our relationship. We talked about the benefits of working together. And so the Nisga'a are a very sophisticated group, very industrial group, as are the Tahltan, as are our First Nations partners in the area. So it's very important because it is your number one risk as mining investors. Access is your mining number one risk, whether you're dealing with a small community in Peru. You're dealing with indigenous communities in Canada. And I think one of our competitive advantages at Dolly Varden is that relationship, the fact that it goes back multiple generations. Another question here, how many more weeks or months of drill results ahead? Now, historically, what we've had is we start drilling in and around April, May. We continue drilling until the end of October, and we're reporting results, starting, some years in June and, reporting as late as February. So we've got weeks, months of data that we're waiting from the lab that will get out to market. So a lot of catalysts to come. And I've got another question here about what our main priorities are for the next 12 months. Well, specifically looking at our existing project, we want to get out these drill results. We want to get out a new mineral resource estimate, and we want to use that as a basis to do a study. So we're looking to de-risk, to expand, and to grow. That is the focus here in the business. However, we've had a history of being acquisitive. So it wouldn't be out of character for the company to continue to looking at growing through accretive acquisitions. And so I do have a goal of looking at doing transformational acquisitions. And so that is something that is part of my 12-month plan. But what is imminently on deck is the drill results. And if you look at how the company has performed in line with discovery news, there is a very, very positive correlation to both metal prices moving up, but also discoveries being made. And we're in an environment right now where silver is breaking out. The company just put out 2 of the richest drill intercepts that the project's ever seen. And so, a lot more of that hopefully to come. Someone's asking here if I can comment on the nearby mills, specifically Premier and Newmont's operation at Brucejack, and could either mill take Dolly's high-grade ore, and if that would help us fast-track operations. Look, we have investigated a number of scenarios from a development standpoint, building our own facility, direct shipping to existing facilities. So it is something that we are studying. And I can note here that there is just to the north of us a fully permitted, underutilized 3,000 ton per day mill at Premier that is currently on care and maintenance. And so, we have had some high level looks at how our ore would be in that mill. So that is a competitive advantage. But I will say that whether it's taking ore north or south, there's another fully permitted site at Kitsault. This is a past producing moly silver mine, and it's just south of the property, and there's some great infrastructure. There's roads, there's power lines, there's a permit in place. So we have a lot of options at Dolly Varden. We can go north, we can go south, we can build a standalone facility in the middle of our claims. And just looking at some more questions here. I've got another one here. Are you raising the additional $30 million in a bought deal in order to help fund imminent mergers and acquisitions? Look, I think it's very, very important for a company to be well capitalized in the mining space. This is a volatile, capital intense business. And so we have a significant use of proceeds at our own project. And however, when we have executed on the 5 M&A transactions in the past, we wouldn't have been able to do them without having a substantial treasury. So it gives us the optionality, it gives us the strength to consider those opportunities. And someone's asking here if we can talk about the connection drillings between Wolf and Torbrit. That's a great question. It's a timely question. what I'd like to say is between the Torbert and the Wolf, there is the Moose Lamb Fault. And our biggest mission in recent drill campaigns at Dolly Varden is to understand where the mineralization is in relation to that fault. And what I'm really hoping to achieve, one of the goals of this year's drill program, in addition to, infilling, there's a de-risking component where the infill drilling is going to increase our confidence in both grade and continuity. So de-risking is important. Expansion and extension is important. But the discovery component of the drill program has the potential to lead to the biggest return. And what I'm hoping to report to our shareholders and the community at large is we have got an understanding of what is happening in and around that Moose Lamb Fault. What I'm really trying to say here is I'm hoping to try to identify where we could fit another Torbert-style deposit on the land package. Torbert is, in its current form, and it still has the potential to grow, it's a 53 million ounce silver deposit. 18.9 million of those ounces have been produced at 466 grams per ton. In a compliant mineral resource estimate, we still have 25 million ounces indicated and 10 million ounces inferred at average grades of over 300 grams per ton just at Torbert alone. On the Dolly Varden horizon, Torbert makes up about 85% of our mineral inventory. That will change. That will change with the inclusion of the Wolf vein into a compliant resource estimate. A huge win this year would be identifying the next Torbert on the land package. If you look at how Wolf has dramatically impacted our valuation, finding another Wolf Torbert-like deposit would have a very, very significant impact. So in addition to merely connecting the deposits, we have the potential to identify where a new one may sit. And again, are they all part of the same horizon? Are they a string of pearls, these large scale deposits and that periodicity of every 1,400 meters on the structurally controlled trend, finding a new deposit. But, I'm very excited about the drill results that we have from Wolf, from Homestake Silver that we'll be reporting. Also, very excited about the potential to identify new deposits. And so lots of results. I've got another question here. Just as we're winding up, we've got 2 minutes left. Are further capital raises expected, or is the exploration fully funded through 2026? The exploration is fully funded through 2026. Just looking here to see if there's any new questions. It looks like that is all the questions that have come in. And so I think with that, I'll turn it back over to our host. I just want to thank everybody for their attendance, for their great questions. And yeah.